Alright guys, welcome back to Fastback Life. I'm TK. Thanks for joining me. So back to work on the old Toronado. I've done some stuff to it. I filmed what I did, but I'm not going to use what I filmed. I used a camera phone and it films in 4K, but after like 10 minutes it cuts the film and it starts a new one. Well, I went to edit it, and the video and the sound, they're not the same lengths, and I have to do a bunch of adjustments that I don't really know how to do. Second, that phone camera thing, like the video is like really close, like really up in your grill, my grill at least, and I just didn't like the way it looked. So as I'm going through some of this, I'll probably cut over to the video that I had just to show you kind of what I mean. We'll see. But anyways, to get you caught up, the carpet's out. So I guess that means I will show you what the inside of the car looks like. So I did get the door back on. But yeah, the floorboards are not good whatsoever. And then the little plates where the seat bolts to are pretty bad too. And obviously someone else knew about that because the patches are not by me, obviously. I got the pedal here. The pedal has like two little holes, and it sits in that, and it rocks back and forth on the throttle. So I was working on this, and like I said, I tried to put together that video, and it just wasn't working, and it just wasn't looking good. Now, I'm not very good at editing. It's something I'm slowly working on here, but that's why I don't have video of that. And it wasn't really anything crazy, except for the noodles. And I might show you a clip of the noodles in the car, so you can take a look at that. Yay, noodles. The thing about the noodles, if you're watching, a bunch of noodles, a noodle bag fell and broke on the driveway here, and I guess not all of them got picked up, but a little rodent picked them up and brought them inside the Toronado. So that's why there's noodles in the Toronado. Kind of weird. But anyways, it was really simple. I took the belt things out, and they bolt in right here. I took this whole plate off, and then the carpet came out. Obviously I had to do that on both sides. So that's what the floorboards look like. There's a little rusty right there, and a rusty right there. Am I surprised? Absolutely not. Floorboards are to be expected. They look pretty thin. They look like really thin metal. And plus this car sat for 16 years in the field, so that might have something to do with it. And I don't know how long this car was on the road for. You know, the longer this car is on the road, that means every winter it's exposed to the salt we have in Wisconsin. Now my Charger, as you can see, floorboards are pretty good. I can actually still see factory paint. But how long did my Charger sit? What state was it in? You know, there's a bunch of different factors. So, am I surprised about the floorboards? Absolutely not. Am I happy about it? I am not happy about it. I will not be fixing the floorboards. I want to, but it's not something that I'm going to do. I actually ripped out the carpet. I've got some newer, cheaper carpet that's going to go in. I'm going to take pictures of that. And then whoever gets the car, you know, obviously I'll tell them about that. I'm not going to not tell them. So carpet's out, which is huge because that held a lot of smell. Oh, yes, and then the starter. The starter. So when we were cranking the car over before, we got it to run a little bit, and we did that a couple times, just trying to kind of clean itself out. Well, then the starter stopped working, and I went down there and I hit it a couple times with a 50 cal, and then tried it. Still won't do nothing. The starter engages, like it shoots out, and that's it. It doesn't spin or nothing. Just kind of engages, no spin. So I think I either burnt the starter out when we tried to start it, or it was just the starter's time to go, because it's who knows how old. Or 3, when I took the starter out, there was dirt inside of it. Guessing from mice or whatever. So I'm assuming that it's one of those 3 reasons why my starter was not working. So in order to get to the starter, there's a couple of things you have to do. First of all, the car's not on a lift, so yeah, there's that. And there's a oil filter back there, so let's see if I can bust these out real quick. So obviously if you have like a lift or whatever, this will be a lot easier for you. But I had the car on the ground. The front end is off the ground, but not completely. I mean, these tires are flat, but they're not it's not completely on the ground, but it's close. So in order to get to the starter, first you have to go through the tire, which can be a pain if it's, there we go. Alright. So, there's the front drive shaft, drive axle. I don't know if you guys can see or not. Maybe I stick you under there. There's a oil filter, and then there's the starter, brand new starter. So anyways, got the starter, threw it in, put in the oil filter in, and while I was dealing with the alternator scenario, I also ran into another issue, because it's just never goes the way you think it's gonna go. So there's my intake, right? Take my intake off, put it over here. So there is a fuel filter right in here. In fact, I can even show you what the old one looked like, because I still got it. So there's what the old fuel filter looks like. Fuel goes in, comes out, blah blah blah. There's a little spring that sits inside too. It sits right here and it pushes pressure on this, so fuel comes in and then comes out the filter and then into the carb. So I'm dealing with that alternator stuff, and I'm like, well, I want to change the oil. I want to change the fuel filter. Perfect. I go and I wrench on it. It comes, almost falls right out. So it's kind of interesting. So I look inside and you can see this is the old one. So the threads are only, it's like, what, 3 or 4 threads right there. That's where the fuel filter sits inside there. So I undo it, everything just kind of falls out. I'm like, oh man, that's probably not good. Well, I pull this off to the side. Just pull it off to the side. I'm looking in there, and the threads are gone. Like mind freak, gone. And so that wasn't good. So then I hop on Facebook pages and I'm asking if anyone's got a carb, or I tell them what the problem is, and a bunch of people say, hey, there's fittings you can get. You know, ones you can get where they make new threads, or ones like the one I bought was ones with just longer threads, because then it'll reach further into the carb and hook onto the threads that aren't even touched. So that's what I did. But in the process, I also hooked up a battery through the fuel lines into a jug of gasoline just to make sure the mechanical pump was pumping gas, and it is. Finally get all that done, get the starter in, oil filter on, dump some fuel down the carb, fill the bowl or whatever, and crank it on it, and she's farting and spitting and doing a bunch of crazy stuff, and keep trying and trying and trying, and she chugs a little bit, and my wife hops in like she knows what she's doing, and I'm gonna show you, and she freaking turns the key and is pumping it just like I was pumping it, and all of a sudden bah, 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 starts up, it's running rough because it needs to clean itself out, but it ran for like 30 seconds. Here she is just gassing it. Jeez, unbelievable. But she got it to work. So right now I'm currently in the process of working on some fuel lines, because I want to put fuel in the tank. I want to rerun the fuel lines and have it pump gas from the tank to the carb. Bing bang boom. I bought some rubber fuel line because let's see if we can find it. So right here is the old fuel lines. Well, they're bad. They're not stainless. I think the back end was even worse. I can even find out where the hell they are. I can't remember where they are. They're up here somewhere. But anyways, the metal fuel lines were just rotten. So I bought some rubber ones. I'm gonna plumb it from the front all the way to the back. I'm gonna throw some gas in the tank first, make sure that the fuel comes out, make sure it's coming out clean, kind of just cleaning out the tank, flushing out the tank. And then the fuel line stuff should be done. The goal is to have fresh fuel instead of the kind of old fuel I was sucking in. It's still flammable, but it's probably not the best for it. And she should start hopefully running on her own. I mean, the carb doesn't look like it's in real bad shape. I hit it with some carb cleaner and it looks a little bit decent, but I could be totally wrong. Anyways, that's going to be the plan. So I'm going to work on the old fuel lines and see how far I can get. They're kind of a pain in the butt. So let's see how that goes. I'm going to put the wheel back on. And then I'll be back out with you guys when I start the fuel lines. Alright guys, so I'll show you what I'm doing for the old fuel line. I just went to AutoZone. Just got some regular old fuel line, same size that's already on the vehicle. And I'm going to use these barbs to connect the two, to the old and the new. And as you can see already, I have for the big main one going in, and then the return. And really it's just simple. I just put them both together, throw some clamps on them, and I'm gonna tighten them down. Nothing too crazy. Really cheap, straight to the point. Now there's definitely better ways to do this. You could definitely get some more quality, high-end stuff and do this a lot differently, but I'm doing this on the cheap end because I just want this car to be able to run and drive and get it out of my driveway. and whoever works on this car next, hopefully that's something that they will do. Go a little bit better, more high end, more stock. I don't know what you want to call it. Just probably better than what I'm doing. But I mean, this is gonna do for what I want to do. So I'm sticking with it. Tell you what though, part of me really does want to work on this car, and another part of me wants me to get back to my Charger, so I'm going to stick with getting back to my Charger. That's really what I want to be working on. This is just kind of a side project, and hopefully make a couple bucks off of it, and be done with it. So another thing, as I'm sitting here talking, some people are like, well, is that going to hold up to the fuel pressure? Well, it's a mechanical pump, and I don't think the mechanical pump gets up to that high of a pressure, and I'm pretty sure this will be just fine for getting it up and running. Now, I just gotta take that and shove it down somewhere where it's not going to be close to the headers, and then kind of swoop out here, run where the metal lines are down the car, and then meet up with the old ones. I don't have another fitting for my main line, so that's probably going to have to wait. But I might be able to get my return line set up. We'll see. If not, I'll show you what I did while you weren't watching. Nothing too crazy. I mean, I tell you what, I can't wait to hear this thing idle on its own. Part of me actually just wants to dump fuel down the carb right now and listen to a rumble, but the kids are inside taking a nap, so can't really do that. So I'm gonna feed this down through the engine compartment, around and down, and whoop, and hopefully it works. See a little bit. So we kind of have a problem. Run my fuel lines down through, just trying to keep it away from the fuel lines, away from the headers. So it's kind of wonky, but it'll do. Not ideal. Got the fuel lines running up to here, over the wheel well, and then down to the ground. And I've actually got them out. So there's a problem. From the factory, you can see the metal line running the length of the car, but then it sneaks up into the frame and then pops back out of the frame, going to the mechanical fuel pump. That's fine and dandy, but I guess they also did it in the back end. Goes into the frame, probably pops back out of the frame somewhere to meet up with the fuel tank. So the fuel line's bad too. Like where it's connected to the metal, it's crap. So it needs to be trimmed and then replumbed like I plan on doing. But my 9 feet of hose might not be enough. And I guess if I have to, I can reroute it to maybe get a half a foot more. But here's my dilemma is, let's see if I can show you guys. That fuel line right there, rubber, goes back into the frame. Both of them do. There's a return, and then I think there's a bigger one up top. So my plan is to reach up in there and pull hopefully some slack that's in there. We'll see if this works. Yeah, tons of fun. Alright guys, so I got some good news and some bad news. You can see I got the That's the main fuel line right there. Boom. Look at that. Sweet. I could definitely trim that, connect to it, be done. Well, then there's another one in there. And there's another one in there. That's a return line. And that's what the return line looked like after I pulled it off the metal, which is still corroded inside of it. Yep, all the dust came out. So, that doesn't look good. That looks like that's been chewed on by something. So, that's the return line. That's great. Just great. So, I have to go to Home Depot to get another mainline fitting. I'm gonna have to cap off the return line for now. Probably get further underneath the car to find out where that fuel line is hiding. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be real great. I'll probably catch you up on the next video, because that's gonna take some tinkering to do. Whew. Hopefully by the time I make the next video, I'll also have tires and stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna work on getting the interior back in, work on getting those tires, work on that fuel line, and then hopefully she'll start and run on her own, hopefully. And I should be getting my title registration stuff for the car in the mail pretty soon too. So it'll officially be mine, paper-wise, I guess. But yeah, I'll probably catch you up on the next episode. Kind of bummed out about that fuel line. Man, I want to hear this thing rumble. All right. Well, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, hopefully you tune back in to finally see this thing run, and hopefully you'll be watching when I send her off to the next person. So hit the like, please. Hit the subscribe button. Leave some comments down below. You know, tips, ideas, tricks, whatever it may be. And you know, if you get a chance, maybe share it on Facebook. I don't know. But thanks again, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.